Hello, everyone. Welcome. uh, Welcome, everyone. Yeah, we're really happy to share this movie with you today. We're gonna go into the themes of collaboration, opening up to love, and basically forgiveness. And yeah, this movie came to Soren, and actually we didn't know that one of the introductory videos was going to be from Take Me Home. But yeah, you want to share a little bit about your inspiration about this movie?
Yeah, when we had the chance to be host of this movie gathering, this movie came to my mind immediately, and it's been really my favorite movie for very long. And I think it's because it reminds me of my own journey. It reminds me of times where I have to begin again. And that has occurred, several times in my life where I felt quite disorientated and actually thought I was a loser or didn't get it or something was missing, and I was really didn't know what way to choose or what was happening. And the latest example of that was that I have created a company with a friend, and that had been very successful, and it was the right timing and the right moment. But suddenly there was nothing for me to do. It was like the what I was initially called to do was didn't it stopped simply. So I had to kind of leave it, and I didn't know why that happened or what to do. Or and then I got to know Frances Sue, and she came to Copenhagen, and she wanted me to be part of a movie project. And so there is this I can identify with the main character in the movie, Dan, who is he's a
Music
producer, and he's basically stuck in his life because he have a wound from his marriage.
Yeah.
And
we can probably mention the name of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Well, the movie is Begin Again, and it is with Keira Knightley and Mark Ruffalo. Probably a few of you are familiar with it, but yeah, basically that's what Soren was sharing, like this sense of begin again and opening up to the collaboration.
Right. And it's just, I mean, the way it's depicted in this movie is so accurate, to what is it really going on. So I feel it's very authentic, the way it's portrayed, and I just feel soothed by the authenticity that is coming forth in the movie, and how that love between the characters is kind of an agape love. It's really deep, and it's so healing. So I really identify with this healing process that is going on in the movie.
Yeah, so basically we will start watching these characters. The music producer, his name is Dan. It's Mark Ruffalo, and he is at the bottom of his experience. Like, he's depressed. He's trying to push away his emotions through alcohol, and he was fired. He doesn't have a good relationship with his daughter, with his ex-wife. Basically, there is he's at a point of complete sense of loneliness. And the character of Keira Knightley, her name is Greta. She's a singer-songwriter. And it seems that by chance, they meet each other at a bar while she's singing. A friend of hers asked her to sing. Like, he takes her out of her comfort zone, because usually she would just write the songs and do not perform them. She would just write them. But she goes out with this friend, and this friend asks her to sing one of her songs. And yeah, I feel it's beautiful, because the Course says that nothing happens by chance, like it is actually a holy encounter. And we will see how basically Spirit uses this relationship to open up their hearts and to bless everyone around them, and using music, because both of them, they just feel so passionate about music that Spirit uses our skills and wherever we think we are to reach us. And I feel this movie is a really beautiful depiction of that.
And also we see in the movie where that we only need to have a little crack of willingness to see things differently. And in that little willingness, Jesus comes in and magnifies that willingness into something beautiful, into something that has ripple effects all over. And it's just, we don't have to do anything but to just have that little willingness to see, to have a conversation with God.
Yeah. Yeah, and the reason why we felt that one of the main topics of this session was love holds no grievances is because in the experience of meeting each other in the movie, there is an experience of forgiveness. I feel that both of them are taken into this journey of forgiving themselves and their relationships. Like, it's basically a forgiveness process that goes on in the movie. And you will see as I was sharing, Dan, the music producer, is he doesn't have any strong relationship with anyone. And he's at the point of almost wanting to kill himself. But that's when this little willingness comes in, like a crack of light comes to him. And then that opens the space for meeting Greta. She is actually in a similar position as him. They are both feeling heartbroken and sense of despair. but it's like when that little willingness shows up, then it's like Spirit brings them together to heal together their mind in a music collaboration. And we felt to start with a course quote from workbook lesson 68, that is Love Holds No Grievances, because I feel this movie shows how, when we open ourselves to love, grievances cannot sustain in the light of love. So I feel this is just a beautiful example of allowing the love to come in and letting go of the grievances. So I can read.
Yeah, it's really an ongoing process. When you open your heart, you also open up for being vulnerable. So Love Holds No Grievances is really a process that is ongoing.
Yeah. So lesson 68. I'm just going to read some parts of the lesson. Love holds no grievances. You, who were created by love like itself, can hold no grievances and know yourself. To hold a grievance is to forget who you are. To hold a grievance is to see yourself as a body. To hold a grievance is to let the ego rule your mind and to condemn the body to death. Perhaps you do not yet fully realize just what holding grievances does to your mind. It seems to split you off from your source and make you unlike him. It is as sure that those who hold grievances will redefine God in their own image, as it is certain that God created them like himself and defined them as part of him. It is as sure that those who hold grievances will suffer guilt, as it is certain that those who forgive will find peace. It is as sure that those who hold grievances will forget who they are, as it is certain that those who forgive will remember. Would you not be willing to relinquish your grievances if you believed all these were so? Perhaps you do not think you can let your grievances go. That, however, is simply a matter of motivation. Today, we will try to find out how you would feel without them. If you succeed, even by ever so little, there will never be a problem in motivation ever again. And basically, Jesus says then that basically our grievances have left us alone in all the universe and in the perception of ourselves. And this is the starting point of the movie. They both feel alone, and you will see when she starts singing this song in the bar where they meet. She says, this song is for everyone who has ever felt alone in the city. And so the starting point is a sense of loneliness. But here Jesus says that it's because our grievances that we feel lonely. And they are both in a point where they feel they've been unfairly treated. she feels that she was unfairly treated by her boyfriend, and he feels he has been unfairly treated by everyone, his company, his ex-wife, his daughter,
his car.
Everything. Yeah, you will see that in the beginning, everything reflects that state of mind. And I love it because Jesus says in the section, the end of injustice, he says something, let me read it, I have it here. He said, you think your brother is unfair to you because you think that one must be unfair to make the other innocent. So I feel that this movie is gonna take us to the innocence in everything, like the real innocence. And yeah, letting go of the thought of being a victim or being unfairly treated. And this collaboration will dispel those thoughts. Yeah, because they open up to each other, and it is actually in a relationship of transparency that it all unfolds. Yeah, I think we can start with the movie.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that we will see the perspective of both in the beginning. We will see how, his perspective of how he ends up in that bar at that exact same moment where she's singing. And later on, we'll see her perspective of
what happened before she sang.
Yeah. Basically, we will see both sides of the story. Like they both feel unfairly treated, and yeah, basically in a point of depression and loneliness, and then they meet. So yeah, enjoy the movie, and we'll come time to time.
So here we are at the lowest point. Nothing is working anymore. His self-concept is totally blown. He's fired from his job. He doesn't have a relationship. He doesn't know her daughter. He has a fight with his wife. Not even the car will start. And drinking is not really feeling good anymore. So at this point, he has to give up, basically, and we will see what happens when he does. And I think we have a quote for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's from the self-concept versus self section of the course. And Jesus says, to see a guilty world is but the sign your learning has been guided by the world, and you behold it as you see yourself. The concept of the self embraces all you look upon, and nothing is outside of this perception. If you can be hurt by anything, you see a picture of your secret wishes. Nothing more than this. And in your suffering of any kind, you see your own concealed desire to kill. You will make many concepts of the self as learning goes along. Each one will show you the changes in your own relationships as your perception of yourself is changed. There will be some confusion every time there is a shift. But be you thankful that the learning of the world is loosening its grasp upon your mind. And be sure and happy in the confidence that it will go at last and leave your mind at peace. The role of the accuser will appear in many places and in many forms, and each will seem to be accusing you. Yet, have no fear. It will not be undone. Yeah, basically, I love it because in this scene, it's like the wife and him, they are blaming each other, the partner, the business partner, they are blaming each other. And it's like this accuser role. But that doesn't work anymore for him. And I feel, in our case, I can see for myself, like whenever there's even a thought, a little thought of that, is like Jesus is asking us, he's saying, just choose again. Like it feels actually uncomfortable. We start to feel more and more uncomfortable. So it's really, the choice of seeing it with spirit rather than what we thought we learned from the world is like a completely different perspective of what is actually going on. So whenever there's a sense of feeling uncomfortable, is that I feel Jesus saying, just choose again, even if there's just a little scrap of feeling uncomfortable. In this case, we can see it's a bit extreme in his case, but I feel that whenever there's like just a little sense of uncomfort in our mind, Jesus is just telling us, no, it doesn't belong in your mind. Let's look at it together and for spirit to come in. And that's what happens here in the movie. It's like a little crack of light opens when there's
a little crack into maybe there is another way.
Yeah.
And in that little willingness, the miracle happens. We see him in a train with a preacher. He says, maybe I should have a conversation with God.
Yeah, that's the next scene.
That's the next scene.
Yeah.
And then the next train he should have is getting, canceled. So he have to go to a bar where he meets her.
Yeah. So this is where there's like this crack of light coming in. And I feel it's beautiful because I've never seen that before in this movie. But actually, when it's like, it's so intense for him, this moment. But then it's like just a little thought of God. Like we will see it there with the preacher on the subway. He's just talking about God, and it's like something like that lights something in his mind, even though he's not fully, like there's still doubt in his mind, but just like that little light of God. And I feel that is actually, what we do with each other, like if there are doubt thoughts coming up for us, just being with a mighty companion is like a symbol of choose again. And so I love this scene because it's just like spirit showing showing up in this preacher. Just okay, there's like this other option that you have not considered. It's seeing it with God, and that kind of opens up a little bit.
All right. So Dan had a vision, and he saw something that he hasn't seen for 7 years or something. But he cannot let his self-concept, crack. He just continues in the old way. So I'm the big shot, I can sign you, I can do anything, and she spots him out. She doesn't want to pretend to be anything more than she is. And that is so convincing, I think, for Dan, that he actually have to change his ways. So this is the moment where he said, okay, I have to
be transparent.
I have to do it in a different way.
Yeah. It's like it's beautiful because when he says, we've been celebrating, we signed this contract, and it's like no one believes it, but still wanting to keep it up or something, to keep the show up or the mask. But then it's like, no, he needs to let it go. And we will see that in that he finds there's gonna be a release. And I actually had in mind this section of the course from the Needless Sacrifice, where Jesus says, the willingness to communicate attracts communication to it and overcomes loneliness completely. So that's what, like she doesn't want to pretend anything. She wants an authentic communication with him. And then Jesus says, there is complete forgiveness here, for there is no desire to exclude anyone from your completion, in sudden recognition of the value of his part in it. In the protection of your wholeness, all are invited and made welcome. And you understand that your completion is God's, whose only need is to have you be complete. So basically, Jesus says here, like, no, don't keep any private thoughts. He wanted to pretend something and not share actually where he's at. But he will experience that in the authenticity, the release will come. And I love it because here Jesus says, in communication, loneliness is overcome completely. Like there's no loneliness in this transparency, in this pure communication. And the ego is afraid of that. But there's no other way of relating at this point, because it's like, okay, it's like a point of surrendering. Like nothing else has been this hasn't been working. So a new way needs to come in, and it's actually the way of authenticity. And
the attraction to actually have found, to have had that vision. That vision is so much more important than keeping up his self-image at this point.
Exactly. And that's beautiful because it's like spirit finds us wherever we think we are, and then he is the healer. And and it's through attraction. That's what I feel it's so beautiful about this movie, because he's so passionate about music. You can see it, like, that is like that. And it's like a new door has opened for him at this point.
Yeah. So now we have seen her side of the story. We have seen that she's been deceived by her trusted boyfriend, and she only wants to go home. But then she meets Dan, and they seem to have opened the heart towards each other just a little bit, because they have been transparent towards each other. And I remember when I joined the movie project and began to open my heart in that collaborative project, it was like I felt suddenly that that life began to make sense. Suddenly I understood that it was through my brother that I would be saved. And really, I hadn't really had that thought before. I thought, it was on my own, and that, basically I would have to kind of do it on my own accord. But suddenly I was with Francis, I was with all the other participants in this movie project, and we were we were expressing, we were sharing, and suddenly all these old grievances that came up, and especially for me it was about abandonment. All these abandonment thoughts came up, and I think at this point we will see how that this heart opening experience that they have with each other, it ripple effects out to be much more than just a joining between the two. It has ripple effects, through collaboration with other musicians, with even with his family, with his with her friend Steve, which is this incredible, beautiful friend, and how he is just there to do service. Really, it's so, and it's very beautiful to follow.
Yeah, it's literally an orchestration for the healing, and we will see now in the next scenes how these other musicians join them in the collaboration, and it's a blessing for the whole. And actually we're gonna see a scene later on where they are recording somewhere at an alley, I think, and there are these kids playing and being noisy, and even those kids are included in the collaboration. Instead of them being noisy, like, okay, do you sing? You can do the back voices, and basically it's like everyone gets included in the joy of the music, of their passion. And there was a course quote that I wanted to share because it is basically about what Soren was talking about in the joining, that we feel we need to sort it out of ourselves sometimes, but no, actually in the joining with our brothers and sisters, we find each other. And Jesus says in the course that the temple of the holy relationship of the temple of the Holy Spirit is actually your relationship. And it's like every encounter it's a total commitment. So I want to read this little part from The Light of the Holy Relationships, where Jesus says, each little gift you offer to your brother lights up the world. Be not concerned with darkness. Look away from it and toward your brother. And let the darkness be dispelled by him who knows the light, and lays it gently in each quiet smile of faith and confidence with which you bless your brother. I love this part when he talks about faith and confidence, because when he listened to her song, he felt moved by it. Something touched him, and it's like he trusts her through her music. And then now she called him, and she's open now to the joining with him, and it's a symbol of trust also. So it's like they needed these symbols of trust for each other to go deeper in trusting actually themselves.
He says, she says, what is going on here? You cannot sign me, and I don't want to be signed. And then he says, yeah, what's there not to like? It's just, this is something different. This is a different relationship.
Yeah. And we will start to see that we're not healed alone. Like everyone that surrounds them is going to come in the swirl of their deeper prayer, actually. Like they don't know it, but they had a prayer for healing. And it's
an expansion.
And it's literally an orchestration for that in the music. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, so we can see that this collaboration and this heart opening, it's going deep into the hurt, and they're able to express their deepest hurt, and now that depth in the heart opening is shown. We are going into a scene of where they go beyond words. Basically, they begin to share music, their real passion, and it just shows the transformative power of music, of how it can raise the mood, how it can uplift people, and how it can make every little trivial thing have meaning. It's the scene in the movie I love the most.
Yeah, and we will also see, while they are listening to the music, how they are having this heart opening, and it's like they are falling in love with each other, but we will see that they are actually gonna take us to a deeper love. It's an agape love. It's beyond the sense of
getting.
And the idea of even being a couple. It really is an experience of agape love, and it is it comes in these scenes with the music. It's like I feel that music breaks the walls off, and then it's just like the heart is exposed, and they allow themselves going into that. But it is really a love beyond roles. It's so
thank you.
We can continue.
So we have seen now that this opening of the heart has opened for any roles that was predetermined. We have seen that any pre-made concept has been questioned, and now she's sitting with the splitter in her hand, and this is the moment where she has this intuition that she will send it back to him, because this is the right thing to do, and it just feels like there's one more thing to do, and that's to get clear about her relationship to her earlier boyfriend. But already now you can feel that it's like from the course, there is a passage where Jesus states, distinguished between the frame and the content. And obviously the boyfriend is more interested in the frame and the elaborate frame, and she is interested in the content, and it doesn't really match. So we have a sense that what is going to happen, but she's really together with Dan in the content, and that's why she sends back this splitter.
Yeah, and we wanted to read a section apart from the healed relationship section of the course that I feel describes pretty well the final scenes of the movie. So I'm going to read this paragraph. As you begin to recognize and accept the gifts you have so freely given to your brother, you will also accept the effects of the holy instant and use them to correct all your mistakes and free you from their results. And learning this, you will have also learned how to release all the sonship and offer it in gladness and thanksgiving to Him who gave you your release and who would extend it through you. And I feel these final scenes are, what Soren was saying, a loosening up of the roles, and we can see that she is actually following her heart. And it's like they both build a stronger trust together. You want to mention the song?
Well, the song obviously means a lot to her, and we already saw how it came into being. She played piano, he played the guitar, and he was so, it's fantastic. And then he makes a hit out of it. And obviously, she doesn't like to be made into some kind of pop hit. And she asked him to play it a different way, and he actually does. And that's kind of the final forgiveness scene, and everything can be forgiven from that moment on. I hope you liked the movie as much as we did. And yeah,
it's really heartwarming just to experience the joy of the collaboration, and yeah, and the music.
mm,
And even I was thinking at the end when his partner Soul tells him, "Oh, clean your locker." I don't know. There's even a sense of lightness. In the beginning, he was so upset and it was so intense. But it's like, no, you don't have to take it so seriously. It's like you can feel how something lifted.
yeah, it's a totally different self-concept
Yeah,
that he had taken on in the end.
it's healing.
Yeah,
It's the healing. Yeah, and the love that bloomed in the collaboration.
yeah.